So friends, once again welcome back to the class. We are continuing with our portion. We are going to the fifth part, that is the law of variable proportion. Till now we looked into the first four parts. Now we are going to the fifth part of the managerial economics chapter 1, the law of variable proportion. Now what is the law of variable proportion? It is a single variable factor function. That means if there are many variables in the production function, for example land is there, labor is there, capital is there, so from that only one variable is kept, only one variable is only one input is kept variable, baki all inputs, all determinants are kept fixed or constant. Only one is, for example if land, only land is kept, or labor, only labor is kept variable, remaining all the proportions are kept as constants. So that is the law of variable proportion. And then we look into the change that happens in the output or the production. The law of variable proportion is a modern approach to the laws of returns. It examines the relationship between one variable factor and output, assuming all other factors to be fixed. It is a production function with one variable input. So only one variable, only one input is kept variable. Variable means something that is changing, something that is not fixed or constant, something that is keeping on changing. So here in this we take only one input as variable, all other inputs are kept as constant. Now as Benham defines, as the proportion of one factor in a combination of factor is increased. That means among the combination of factors, there are many factors which results in, there are many inputs which results in production. Out of that, one input or one factor is changed. After a point, the first, the marginal, and then the average product of that particular factor will diminish. So first he tells that the marginal factor will diminish, and then the average product of that particular factor will diminish. Let's look into the details. Yeah. The definitions are there. Thus the law assumes one factor to change. Assumption is there. One factor, only one factor changes. The marginal as well as the average output diminishes eventually. That means the average product. Here we are looking into the marginal product and the average product. Both of them gradually diminishes. Hence this law is considered as a restatement of law of diminishing returns. It explains the same thing explained by the law of diminishing returns in a different way. So that is what, assumptions. First assumption, the production technology remains unchanged. Technology is constant, it doesn't change. One factor alone changes, only one factor is changing, other factors are constant. The proportion of the factors can be changed. That means how much change has to come, that depends. So you can change, the proportion can be changed. All the variable factors are homogeneous. Homogeneous means the variable, suppose a labor we are changing, the change is happening homogeneously. Suppose one labor is skilled in such and such way, the other labor should also be skilled in such and such way. So it is homogeneous change. There is no, we are not changing labor as one person is a good electrician and another becomes a good plumber. No. If one is a good electrician, the change happens only between electricians. No plumbers, or it's homogeneous. There is no other new factor come into play. The law is applicable in the short run as all factors are variable in the long run. So this can be applicable only in the short run, only during the short period of time. In the long run, all variables are there is no factor which is constant or fixed in the long run. Land can change in the long run. If we purchase a land for an industry, we cannot change land every year. We cannot buy new land every year. Or machinery, if we buy, we cannot buy new machineries every year. It has to last at least 5 to 10 years. So in the short run, we don't change capital, we don't change labor. All these are constants. What we can change is labor. We cannot change land, we cannot change machineries or capital. What changes is labor. So that is a variable constant. So but in the long run, in 10 years, in 15 years, land can change, machineries can change, labor can change, everything can change. So in the long run, all inputs are homogeneous, all inputs are variables. Yeah. The law operates in three stages. The first stage is called a stage of increasing returns. Second, the stage of diminishing returns, and the third, the stage of negative returns. I hope you have studied these three stages. Yeah. So that is shown in a schedule now. So law of variable proportion, here we have two, this is taken, two inputs are taken. One is factor machine, fixed factors machine, that means the capital, and the variable factor is the labor. So machine is same 1 1 1 1 1, whereas the variable factor labor changes 1 2 3 4 5, keeps on changes. So the total production output is 5. As per the first one, the total output is given as 5. So the average output will automatically be 5 because there is no other change is happening. The marginal output will also be 5. Now when the second this is coming, when the second unit, when the change variable change is coming, the total production is said to be 12. So what will be the average one for an increase? That is 12 divided by 2, that is 6. 12 divided by 2 is 6, and the marginal, that margin means the change with the first one, 12 minus 5, that is 7. When the third unit comes, when third unit changes, the total production becomes 21, 21, and then the average production will be 21 divided by 3, that is 7, and the margin will be 21 minus 12, that is 9. So in that way the calculation goes on. So we can see the stages, the first stage, second stage, third stage, we will tell. Above schedule may be interpreted as follows. There is a sharp increase in the total production in the beginning up to the application of the fifth dose. Okay, till the fifth dose there is sharp increase in the total production. The total production becomes 40 or 40, becomes 40. From 5th to 9th, the phase of increment in total production is very slow. After that, till 5th it was increasing very fast, from 5 to 12, 12, 21, 21 to 32, 22 to 40. But after it became 45, the increase is very slow. At the 9th dose, the total production is its maximum at its point K, and then onwards the total production decreases. So till 9 it becomes 8th and 9 it becomes 52. After it becomes decreasing. So the total production increases, then it increases at a diminishing rate, and finally it becomes negative. Average production increases up to the fifth dose and then it starts declining. Average production increases till the fifth dose, the fifth component 8. Till that it increases, then it starts decreasing. The marginal production increases up to the fourth dose. It is maximum at the fourth dose and afterwards it starts declining. The marginal good till 11. The fourth one it's 11. Till that it became increasing. After that it is decreasing. At the ninth dose, the marginal production becomes 0. Total production is a maximum. Look, where the marginal production becomes 0 at the ninth product, the total production is its maximum 52. After that, even if after that you start producing, it will become negative. Becomes negative. Marginal product becomes -2. Yeah. The law of variable production operates in 3 stages. Now the 3 stages are being shown. This curve you can get if you depict the schedule in a graph, you will get this diagram. You can just try it out at home. If you depict the points which are there up in the graph in a table format, you will get this graph. Yeah. The total production curve has a steep rise up to point L. This is the first stage. The first stage up to fourth dose, marginal production as well as average production have increasing trend. But MP lies above AP. That is what the graph shows us. From the point L to K, TP has a slow increase. That means the same thing that is shown in the schedule is being depicted once again over here in the diagram. As I told you, when you write exam, you have to make a schedule, explain the schedule, then draw the graph based on the schedule, then explain the graph. So this is the same explanation that can be given even to the schedule. But here we use diagrammatic language like curve or the graph is steeping down, going up. So like that we are using the language. Okay, yeah. So that is how it is. So MP-TP relationship. Now what is the relation between the marginal product and the total product? When marginal product goes on increasing, TP increases at an increasing rate. When the marginal product goes on increasing, we saw in the first schedule, when marginal product goes on increasing, the TP, that is the third section, 5, 12, 21, 30, it goes on increasing till it becomes 11. Or it becomes 11. It goes on increasing. When MP becomes 0, total product is the maximum. That means at the 9th dose, it became 52, here became 0. The marginal product became 0. When MP becomes negative, TP decreases. When MP becomes negative, TP also decreases. When MP lies above AP, the latter, that means the MP rises. When MP curve cuts AP, the average production is maximum. So all the same thing that we have seen in the schedule is being. So this relationship is important when you write the exam. This relationship you have to write. Yeah. Now the law of variable proportion operates at 3 stages. Again the same thing is being told in 3 stages. First of all, in the first stage, the total product increases at a faster rate in the beginning. Second stage increases at the diminishing rate and then becomes maximum. And third stage it diminishes after the 9th product. Marginal product increases, reaches to maximum and diminishes. Then the second stage continues to diminish and then becomes equal to 0. Then in the third stage it diminishes. Average product increases continuously and becomes maximum. In the second stage it becomes equal to MP and then begins to diminish. The third stage continues to diminish but will always be greater than 0. So that is what is the relation between average, marginal and total product. Go through this. If you have doubts, you have to ask. This we have already done. You have done in your PU classes about this increasing returns, diminishing returns and constant returns. We have seen. And again this will be seeing in the next title also. So these 3 stages are very important. These 3 stages are most likely to be asked in the exam also. Law of variable proportion. So you have to study this nicely when you come for your exam. Yeah. So now what is the first stage? First stage is called as stage of increasing return. Why do returns increase? Following reasons can be given for the increasing returns. First of all, indivisibility of inputs or factors. Now in the first stage the factors are not divisible. The machines, equipments, tools and similar other factors used in the process of production are indivisible. They cannot be broken into different pieces. Their cost will be shared between more and more units of products as output is increased with the specified range. So indivisibility is the first reason why in the first stage we have increasing returns. Second, specialization. Large scale production is characterized by division of labor which leads to specialization. So in the second stage we have specialization happening. Third, internal economies. The internal economies are the economies or advantages reaped by the firm after its internal expansion or recognition. Internal economies decrease the cost of production and increase the returns. So fourth point again. External economies are the benefits reaped by each firm when the industry expands. External economies increase the returns by decreasing the cost of production. So these are the first four points for the first stage, the stage of increasing returns. Which are the 4 points? Indivisibility, specialization, internal economies and external economies. So these are the reasons for the first stage. Second stage, decreasing returns. During second stage, TP goes on increasing at a diminishing rate. The TP goes on, the total product goes on increasing at a diminishing rate and reaches the maximum. AP goes on decreasing. Similar is the case with MP, which goes on diminishing and then reaches 0. Now what are the reasons for the decrease in stage 2? What are the reasons? First, Dick's economies. When the fixed factors reach the point of optimum utilization, the increase in variable factor will result in diminishing returns. So when you are going on increasing the variable factor, what happens? At last it becomes result in diminishing returns. These economies creep in when the existing machines overtrained and the firm management becomes unwieldy. So this economy starts cracking in. And lack of perfect substitutes. In second stage, we don't have perfect substitutes. So we have to use this machineries even if it is giving you negative returns or decreasing returns. So that substitution possibility is less. Now third stage is negative return. Third stage, we can see the additional dose of variable will lead to fall in the total production. TP will become negative, fall. Marginal product tends to be negative as excessive variable factors adversely affect the efficiency of a fixed factor. The third stage is merely a theoretical possibility. Among the three stages of production, the second one represents the range of rationality. No rational producer will expand production beyond the second stage. No one who is rational enough will go on producing after the second stage. So, two striking difference between these two. The law of variable proportion is considered modern approach to the law of diminishing returns. In the old approach, law of diminishing returns and the law of increasing returns are separate law. But the modern approach, these are two stages of the same law. There are no two laws of it. The old approach treats land alone as a fixed factor, while in the new approach, any factor may be fixed in the short period. Hence, the modern approach is considered to be superior than the old approach. So, that is a differentiation between law of variable proportion and law of diminishing returns. Almost similar, the thought pattern is almost similar. Only here and there subtle changes are there. So, that is the law of variable proportion. Now, we go to the law of returns to scale. The law of returns to scale analyzes the input-output relationship when all factors are variable. When all the factors are become variable, it just analyzes the input-output relationship. They examine the behavior of production when all the factors are changed simultaneously in the same ratio. Distinction is made between the law of increasing returns to scale, the law of constant returns to scale, and the law of diminishing returns to scale. These are the three stages of the return, not three types of returns to scale. Hence, these laws are called as a production function with all variable inputs. Now, law of variable input, what was there? In that only one factor was variable. Here, all factors can be put as variable. So, that is the difference between law of variable proportion and law of returns to scale. Again, that is the law of returns to scale are different from the law of variable proportion. In the latter, one factor is kept constant and the effect of inputs on output is studied by changing other factors. But in the returns to scale, all factors of production are either increased or decreased. All are kept changing. Yeah. Now, its definition is there. The three stages are given below. We have the three stages as we had over there. So, all keep changing. In the first scale, we keep the land and labor. 1 acre of land, 2 workers, total production is 1, marginal production is 1. 2 acres, 4 workers, total production increases, marginal production also increases. 3 acres, 6 workers, again becomes 6 and marginal production becomes 3. It increases. In second stage, stage wise it is put, yeah. As the same thing is diagrammatically explained, which you can go through. The first stage, the upward sloping curve shows increasing returns, then you have constant returns, 4 constant returns, then we have diminishing returns from 3 to 1. Now, why do returns to scale increase in the first stage? 4 reasons. First of all, division of labor, as we saw over there. Indivisibility of machine, again increase in internal economies and external economies, same as that of law of variable proportion. What is the reason for increasing returns? The same thing are the reason for increasing returns over here also. Now, why do returns decrease? Diminishing returns are due to internal external diseconomies, as it is there in the previous title also. The same thing is happening here also. It is not possible to increase the scale of production beyond a limit. Returns to scale are theoretically important, but practically all factors cannot be changed in order to increase the production. Even in the long run also, altering all factors of production is not easy. Hence the law of returns to scale are more theoretical in nature. So that is what we studied, the two laws. First of all, law of variable proportion and the law of returns to scale. So that's what we studied. Go through this. We'll meet with the last two topic in the next video.